No, I don't like that. You know, I don't think we have to be too meticulous about this leather strap. I mean, clearly the fabric would kind of bleed around it a little bit, but I mean, it's really just a sort of a decoration kind of thing. Um, okay, let's get this. Whoops. Okay. Let's take those guys out. Alright. Slight smackaroonie with the smoothing tool. Huh. Hey Oscar, sorry I didn't notice you there, dude. Okay, Streamlive does take up quite a bit of resources, blah blah blah. How do you handle using XP Pin 50 tips? Got mine a month ago. Tips seem to run down fast. Screen protector stretches as well. Do the stream on a separate computer and use an Ethernet card. Yeah, okay. I'll put this. Yeah. I don't have any tips on the XP Pen Artist 1560. I have two of them. One's plugged into this machine and the other one's plugged into my laptop, and I think it's a great device. The drivers worked perfectly from the very start. It's one of the few peripherals I've ever bought where I literally have had no issues. It's just been very trouble-free. So I don't know what I would really be able to say in terms of, tips. Maybe the only thing I can think of is that when I first got it, I noticed that the default pressure curve was such that you really had to press hard if you wanted to get to maximum pressure. And so what I found was in the applet where you deal with the settings of it, I found I actually set the pressure curve something like that, so that because I didn't really want to wear down the tips, like every day. But on the other hand, I did order a packet of maybe like 50 of the replacement tips on Amazon. They were really cheap, and so I just thought, why not have them? And I did replace the tip or the nib, whatever you want to call it, in this one just a couple days ago. It was the first time I changed it, actually. Okay. Thanks for asking, man. I'm like humming along here and I didn't realize you were there. So, are you still watching? I can't see if you're still watching, so hopefully I was able to answer your question in time. Okay, so let's go to the camera view. Looks pretty good. Yeah, so clearly we've got a lot of work to do up here. Yikes. But as long as we've got our connecting points, we should be able to do this fairly rapidly, actually. Yeah, I like that. Alright, and boom, 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 boom. Okay, that's essentially a slightly rounded rectangle. It's one thing that helps with drawing too, is to think in terms of everything you draw is either a straight line like that, or it's a C like that, or it's an S. Like everything you draw is comprised of straight lines, C's, or S's. And if you know what the constituent shapes are for anything, then you can draw that thing, whatever it might be. C, 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 C. Here on the thumb, slight C, straight line, S. Nope. S. So that may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I find it does work. Okay, looking good. So now, what do we want to do about this mess? Well, first thing we're going to do is put in the skull. Just put in the skull. Okay. Second thing I'm going to do is put in the ears. Third thing I'm going to do is tighten up the S's that comprise his ponytail. And now I'm going to put in the headband. That is actually, let me read you that. The headband's going to come around like this. It's actually going to be more like that. I made it too wide, too thick, too bold, whatever you want to say. And okay, so slight wipe with the smooth tool, and in this case we really don't see the little nubby where his ponytail comes out of, but his hair is going to be just pulled back to it like so. Interesting. I'm going to refresh my YouTube page, see if there's anything I'm missing here. Going on. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I lost the comments. Okay, they're coming back. Okay, so there's one watching now, so I don't know if that's somebody else or if that's just me. It's probably just me. That's okay. Okay. Let's go to the camera view, and we have this. That looks pretty darn good. Now, actually, one thing that could be, I don't know if this is going to be important. I'm thinking it's probably not, but just to be safe, I'm just going to draw a couple lines right there. So that, yeah, actually that doesn't work, does it? I guess wherever Blender puts the borders will be, when it renders out, will, is stupid attack. What I was doing was addressing the fact that you don't want to have an open shape. If you try to fill this, obviously it's not going to know where the edge is. Duh. So, but yeah, when this renders out, it'll be cut off here, so that'll work fine. So again, like I said, stupid attack. And just get rid of superfluous lines. These aren't actually helping me because they're not really accurate to what the perspective is going to be. Truth is, we're almost looking straight on at the wall. Not quite, but almost. So it looks like I got 2 watching now. I wonder how you see, I don't know how you see who's watching, unless they make a comment, I guess. Okay, so back to here. That looks pretty good. Alright, so he comes up there and there. Back to that view. Zoom in a little bit. Okay. So now E, and go ahead and just paste those in. Rotate that. Let's see. I think I want to hit the period key. Nope. I want to hit the comma key. Yes. Sorry about that. That worked. Let's see if we can get lucky twice. I'm gonna say, let's do this. Let's grab this. Control C. And Control V. Oops, Control V. Yep. Go. Rotate. Yep. I'm gonna, as long as this is working, why not just do it as much as I can get away with? Okay, now this is important. I gotta turn on the onion skins so I see where his fingers were before. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click right there, hit the period key, and now it's gonna rotate around there. And actually I think what I want to do is go like this. Okay, so I don't cause myself trouble, what I'm going to do is go out here, grab these guys and rotate those like that. Now grab the whole thing. There's my point of rotation. And it seems to me that would be about like that. So then now I can paint this out, and that actually sort of kind of works. Okay. Yes. I like it. Okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is see if we could actually do the same thing with this little section. So I'm going to grab those points and just see where they might fall. I think I can turn the onion skins off for the moment. Bring these, get, sort of clean out the area a little bit. Oops. Okay. Just see where it feels right. And then I'm going to go grab these, select linked, put a rotation point right there. Okay, that's, well, I guess, yeah, that's probably about as much time as I'm going to be able to save on this, because this hasn't been drawn yet. So if we draw it now, we can probably use this in the next frame. But yeah, that saved quite a bit of time actually. Okay, and so I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to grab this, select linked, Control C, because what I actually want to do here, if I can get away with it, is I'm going to take his head out. I'm going to paste this in. Okay, what I'm going to do is, if this is correct, I think it'd be size X -1. Nope. Maybe it's size Y? That doesn't seem right to me. What's the problem? We don't have proportional editing turned on. Let's see. Yeah, size X. I guess, okay, we'll just do it that way. That's fine. Okay, and you can see a little bit of an inconsistency. Okay, let's go back to the comma. Hey, off to beddy bye, huh? Okay, nighty night. Okay, does that work? Okay, so this is interesting because going through this process reveals, reveals flaws that you didn't really know were there. I can see that the size of his head changed a little bit between shots. Now we can fix that by simply making the rest of his body conform sort of to the scale of what we pasted in, which is what we should do, because obviously there's no reason, if he's just going vertically up a wall, why he would appear to change in scale at all. That would not make any sense. So okay. Okay. So now let's just clean this mess up. Why would we want to have a mess when we can not have a mess? That looks good. And this thing, definitely needs a little tiny bit of smoothing. Okay, now is this line going to be here or there? One wonders. Well, it's going to be there. It's going to be like that. Clean, clean, clean. Boom, boom. That looks good, guys. Okay. Looks like no comments or anything. Okay, that's cool. Comments or questions? What time is it? Boy, it's been over an hour. Do 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 do. Now this is an interesting cheat. If we, this actually, I never thought of this until right now, but if we go ahead and make these lines suggestive instead of precise, that's actually a big win, because now if we do a flood fill in this region, it's going to fill the region, as opposed to having to fill every little tiny shape. So definitely want to keep that idea in mind. That's actually a super good idea. So why close a shape if it's just going to make it harder to do your painting later. So this shape I do want to close. And actually, I'm going to get rid of that. Alright, now I'm going to zoom way in. And this is a great example where you can see the flaws in the line. Now, is that going to show up? I don't think so. But it's pretty easy to just clean it up, so might as well. One quick swipe of the smoothing tool. It looks good. Okay. So, what does the camera see? Well, that's what the camera sees. So, at full HD, let's just see. At full HD, it would be about like that. So, as long as we're here, and working with what the camera sees. Unfortunately, it's kind of a bummer we got to do this type of cleanup, but it is what it is. Now the reason that looks kind of stupid right there in the strange way that just erased is because Blender doesn't actually erase the lines. Blender erases the points. So if you have a line that is not particularly point dense, then if you go to erase it, you have to sort of climb down the line trying to find a spot where it'll actually go ahead and it'll hit a point and then it'll erase the point. So I guess technically, to be accurate, that would be something like that. I don't believe that we need any additional level of detail. The only other thing that needs to be addressed is this. So what I am thinking about here, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and bring this back, take this back down, and see my keyframes again, and then go to the front view. Just makes me think. Okay. First of all, I want to just sketch in what I'm going to be drawing here. Okay. This comes like that, that comes like that. Okay. So that's what we're drawing. So now for this little section, I'm just going to go straight to ink. And okay, hit that once with the smooth tool, and now for the moment I'm just going to turn this off. Actually, am I? Or, let me get this line in first. Okay, then what I want to do is draw this. Okay, slight smooth. Turn that back on. Lock that. And okay, that's kind of weird. Oh, right, because I just locked it. Duh. Okay, are you using the XP Pen X52? I have a similar setup. You have Anime Studio, Sketchbook Pro, and Clip Studio, which have great brushes. Hope optimize points. Yeah, Oscar. I also have Anime Studio, which is really a great application for the price. And for a lot of things, it would probably be my preferred tool. for an anime, I want that hand-drawn look more than you know, a bone-driven sort of approach. Both are fine. Clip Studio is going to be more for the way I'm doing this, but I like Anime Studio. I like the fact that it's sort of a lean program that just does one thing really well. So yeah, my setup is well, actually I can show you. The setup is the XP, there's the tablet, and then up here you've got 2 more screens. So that worked out better than I thought it might. Okay, so yeah, so it's 3 screens. There's really no reason, getting back to your earlier comment, there really is no reason that that this machine shouldn't be perfectly fine with streaming and drawing and all that at the same time, because this is, I mean, it's a 12-core machine, and yeah, your tips wear down fast. That's why I say I have a light touch, and I just, in the driver settings, which if I can pull it up right now, yeah, stupid thing doesn't want to come up. Maybe here. Yep, there it is. Okay, so you can see that's what I was talking about. I have the pen tablet set so that I really don't have to press very hard to get in the range of maximum pressure. Okay, so if you leave it flat, you have to like really crunch the thing hard. And so yeah, like I said, I've got a light touch, and I just prefer that. So and like I said, I've only replaced 1 tip. I've had the thing for several months now and only had to replace 1 tip. So, you know, what does that tell you? Okay, so now I'm going to go back to the camera view. And as long as we're here, why don't we just hit Control? Because I'm satisfied with this. So Control M, just move those strokes into the ink color, and same thing here. There's no reason to not commit to that at this point. So that I'm liking the look of that, and I'm liking the workflow of it. That should color in really nicely in Krita, and I guess we can do the same thing again here. I don't really want these lines that I used for reference to be part of it, so let's go select linked and Control M, which, by the way, I think you have to set up that you have to set up the hotkey to move your strokes to another color. I set up that hotkey to be Control M. So have tried anime, but I keep going back to a realistic style. Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I draw all kinds of different styles, if you will. The most recent thing that let me see. Yeah, I've got a friend who wrote a paperback novel, fantasy novel, that's being published soon, and so whoops, didn't mean to do that. So I did this you know, book cover for her, which it's not necessarily the final cover, but so that's kind of a composite of a lot of photo elements along with a fair amount of hand painting kind of thing. So it gives you an idea of different styles. Another actually interesting example would be, let's look at this poster, preview this. Yeah, for this movie poster, I actually took but you keep using the keyboard. Try it back to that setting. Tried the remote. What do you? I'm not sure. What are you referring to the remote right now? Give this a second. Okay, reconnection successful. Okay, yeah. I don't have it set up on this machine, but on my laptop, I have the first one set to the D key, so I can start drawing. I can't remember what the second one is, but then the third and the fourth one I've got mapped to Shift and Control, so that I can use the buttons on the tablet to pan and zoom in my scene. But right now, in practice, I do find I use the keyboard most of the time. So I don't know that I don't think I would pay extra to get the buttons on the tablet, because I just don't think they really are that useful. Okay, so now for this shot, it's kind of cool that I'm in the ink here, because what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to really cheat like crazy here. I'm going to go Control C, and I'm going to go here, and go Control V, and just move these. Oh geez, actually, let's do that. Okay, so now if I lock the ink layer, I can go to the sketch layer. XP Pen remote. I bought it for, oh, the remote. I see. Never used it. Now I know what you're talking about. I've never used that. The XP Pen remote. I remember seeing something about it online. But yeah, sorry about that. I'm talking about two different things here. Or we're talking about two different things. Okay, so there's that, but now I want to do the opposite. Lock this and unlock that. And because I don't want to be too stupid here, I want to give this a different pose. So probably could get away with that. And then just erase these lines. Okay, that's pretty good. Alright, so now what we've got to do is, actually I do want to also leverage this if I can. And I'm actually going to do that. I wonder if I cut and paste. Oops, nope, that's no good. So let's go Control Z. I'm going to do this the same way I did the other one. I'm just going to hit the G key and worry about erasing things later, because I'm going to have to change the pose of his foot. But what this does for me is it saves me having to get all the wrapping correct. So that's kind of a win. Okay, Oscar says, I won't bother you as much, but let me try changing that again. I see you don't rig the point for your drawing as well in Blender. Rig the point for your drawing as well. I'm not sure what you mean by rig the point for your drawing. Can you clarify that? So there, that saved me a little bit of hassle, and I'm going to lock the well, actually let's lock the ink layer and undo the sketch layer. And now everywhere that has ink lines that I can be committed to, let's go ahead and erase the sketch. Yep, that looks good. Erase the sketch and selectively do a little erasing through here. So you said you can add bones to your points. Oh, well, right. That gets back to an Anime Studio approach. If you were going to use, I agree with you completely. If I was going to use the grease pencil to create a puppet style animation where you then absolutely you might have, if you have an arm, you might have a couple empties and then put the forearm and the upper arm in different layers and map them to the empties and do all your animation with the empties. And then you could use grease pencil strokes that don't have an outline to patch the seams between the two and that sort of thing. So absolutely. There's not, honestly, Oscar, there is almost nothing you could do with Anime Studio that you could not do with Blender, in my opinion, from what I've seen. It's this particular, doing an anime, it's really more about frame-to-frame animation, so it's just how I'm doing it. But I don't know if you were tuned in earlier, but this material here, where this is Akari, she's sleeping, and then it goes to this shot, and then it pans up, and then you see the ninjas climbing the wall. So yeah, that's how I did this. I parented both her and the wall to this text object right here that says wall in Akari. That's just a text object. And that allows me to animate the text object and just move those layers with it. So you can parent once, so you can move points in bulk. Well, the other thing I like about the thing that Anime Studio has over Blender right now, it may change with Blender 2.8, but the advantage that Anime Studio has is that you can parent a group of points to a bone, and within that same object, for lack of a better term, you can parent other points to a different bone. So that means you can get real-time deformation going on. That you can't do in Blender, not at this point. You could do it if you didn't use grease pencil. If you used either graphics that were mapped to a plane, or obviously if you just use 3D geometry, then of course you can do all that. But as far as the grease pencil goes, deformation is the big weak point. And then obviously fill. One of the reasons I almost didn't use Blender for this and was trying to use OpenToons and obviously Krita is the fact that there effectively are no fill tools in the Blender grease pencil. I know that's changing with 2.8. I'm not holding my breath, I think it's going to be cool, but I'm not going to wait for it, because they're going to have to get the bugs out and everything else. I certainly respect the work that Peppy Land and Antonio are doing on the code. It's great what they're doing. But if you look at Peppy Land's demos, like the Hero short film, you sort of look through it and see how he's doing what he's doing. A great deal of it could be done with the grease pencil now, actually. Not all, but most of it could be. So, like I said, I think it's cool what's coming, but after dealing with the problems that you have working with other programs like OpenToons, like Krita, the promise of software and the reality don't usually match up that well. And so you don't want to be like super cynical about it, but I've said this before, Blender 2.8, I'll sort of believe it when I see it. Yeah, exactly. You have to do what works for you. Exactly. The thing is, I wanted to get going on this. I didn't want the matter of parenting and grouping is good, and you're talking about deformation or puppet style animation. The plastic tool in OpenToons is quite cool. So you'll have to, if you're interested in doing so, you'll have to check it out. I'm really hoping Krita will implement some basic keyframe interpolation. That would be quite helpful. And again, the grouping thing. You can group layers in Krita, but you can't. Okay, let me say this. You pretty much can't animate them as a group. There's actually a way to do it, but it's a little bit persnickety and problem prone. I'll have to deal with that in another video, because I'm sure sooner or later on this project I'm going to wind up trying it. You know, because for one reason or another I'll want to do this or that in Krita instead of Blender. Okay, so now we've got this Krita. Yeah, man, for sure. Krita, I mean, I've got it open right now. You know, I don't know if you've subscribed, but if you have, and if you stick around, you're gonna find that a lot of the paint, you know, I'm doing the ink in Blender, but probably inking is going to be mixed between Blender and Krita, and definitely a lot of the paint work is going to be done in Krita. But I will say that for, you know, open tunes may wind up being used more than I think too. I want to give that cloth a little bit more yeah, actually I'm glad I did that, because I can see a problem here. Now you could kind of get away with murder on this, because just because the this frame, I think it's on 2s, this frame goes by really fast. Okay, but his leg was definitely not bulky enough there. Alright, and I'm gonna say this is where Blender is amazing. The ability to treat your pencil lines like vectors and just stretch them and deform them is quite useful. So later on I'll just convert all these lines from the blue pencil to the black. No big deal. That doesn't really matter. Okay, so now he's stretching up, and as we can see, I actually had already planned on cheating. We love to cheat. So let's rotate this. Yep, I like that. Actually, I like the way it interacted with these other lines as well. There we go. That's not quite right. Okay. Now, this guy, one thing I forgot is he's got his mask. And he's got his other mask. Rethink that a little bit. Boom. Okay, so did I actually put this ear up too high on his, or too low on his skull? I think I did. So with that, I'm gonna shrink that down, and we want to run that under there. Okay, let's take a peek at how this is coming together by going to the camera view. Okay, so let's just let it run once. So there's Akari sleeping. I keep wanting to call her Krita, which is kind of bizarre. Cuts to the wider shot. Now the context pans up. Up comes our anime guys, or our ninjas. He makes a little mistake. Okay, and okay, great. I see an issue. Yeah, I'm working on a 2.5D short with comic and game this year. I have so many ideas I put off for over 20 years. So okay, so cool. You're old like me. I like that. Yeah. This is the year I've committed to changing that. The comic is almost done, so I watch restoration when I see people. Yeah, cool. Well, I'll be here for a while, man. I expect to be God has been good to me, and I have the time and the resources to be able to do something like this. I've made 8 movies, but I'm kind of sick of making films, and I just my partner had this concept for an anime, and we just kind of looked at each other and said, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just figure it out and make it happen. Okay, so now the problem that we have, and it's not a big problem, is I want to go hit the tab. Alright, so now what I want to do is go to this keyframe, and I got to move this back down here and insert a key. Now, we don't want this to gradually change. Actually, we sort of got away with murder right there, didn't we? And that's because, yeah, we can't have that. Okay, so what do? We go to our dope sheet, and there's this right here has got to be constant interpolation. Okay? And that now it's exactly right. The only thing, let's see, so we get to the close-up. Yeah, let's go ahead and go back to grease pencil here. And yeah, so once that, yeah, okay, well, I'll be 52 this year, so life does get better the older you get, as long as you don't get sick. Man, I've had several friends have, you know, gotten cancer and died in the last like year or two. In fact, that movie poster I showed you, preview, this guy that played the lead in this movie, really good friend of mine, and he had a horrible accident, a biking accident that gave him a what do they call it, a brain injury, traumatic brain injury, TBI, and then a year later develops pancreatic cancer. And just crazy, you know, and they do all this chemo stuff, and it's the same story you hear over and over. The tumor shrank, and within a month or so he dies. So the pharmaceutical companies can claim that the cancer treatment worked because the tumors did shrink, but and then, you know, not very long later he's gone. So it's what happens, and it happens a lot. Not to rant too much, but okay, so I'm liking this. I really am liking this. I'm liking the way. Okay, so if I draw here, yeah, that's right. So what I don't plan on doing is using another color that's baked into my renders to put like that, you know, to put like a delineate a shadow. I'm gonna deal with the shadows. At least my plan at this point is all the shadowing and stuff, and really fine details are gonna be dealt with in Krita. So that's that. So now we got to deal with his other foot, and then I'll probably wrap it up for today, I would say, and move on to some other stuff. It's a shame, yes, hospital. Yeah, I know. It's just, yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, actually, my partner is a Seventh-day Adventist, so she's been a vegetarian her whole life. And but yeah, we eat pretty wholesomely most of the time. I still eat meat about once a month or so. So I'm not fanatical about you can't ever eat meat, but definitely not anywhere near as much as I used to. And lots of vegetables. Yada yada yada. So I want to give this a little bit more volume. Yeah. Well, the other thing I have going for me is I've been pumping iron for since New Year's Day 1983. Almost every day. Not every day, but most days. So I think that that's helped me. It's hard to say for sure, you know. Some people are very active, and yet they have problems. So I think there's a certain amount of randomness to it. But the significant thing I try to keep in mind is that we are all going to die. The death rate's 100%. So you can't get to, you can't, you know, it's not like you can run away from that. And so you have to think in terms of, you know, what we have is today. So let's do, you know, let's make today a good day. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I wanted to hit the E key. Yeah, I wanted to just smooth out a little bit. Yeah, and I'm actually getting hungry now. I think I might have to make some veggies. Yeah, walking science experiments. Ain't it the truth? Ain't it the truth, man? We want to go S key here. Okay, I'm going to turn the influence down a bit. Just want to, yeah, slim him out just a little bit. Okay. Back to the camera view. Bop, 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 bop. Yeah, I mean, other than a couple erroneous dots here and there, I think we're in good shape. So now what I'm going to do is probably the obvious thing, which is go Control C, jump to here. I want to turn proportional editing off. So I can go Control V, and yeah, actually that's exactly what I want to do. But to be smart about this, what I really should do is hit Control M. And if that worked, yeah, that allows me to lock the ink layer and just erase all this. Yep, no problem, man. Hope to see you again sometime on here. That is why we got to get all those ideas out of your head, so when you dial me... Well, I have no regrets right now. If it all ended tomorrow, that would be okay. That would be perfectly okay. But, yeah, have a good workout, man. Okay, so... I think this is a good place to stop, because actually... Because this frame is going to repeat, and actually... the whole rest of the sequence it's going to repeat. The only thing that's going to change is the animation of his ponytail. So for that reason, actually, I'm thinking that this frame right here is probably erroneous. We probably could actually take that back out because it's just a duplicate. And then we've got to figure out how we're going to do the ponytail animated over top of it. And then the smart thing to do would be to put the other ninja, at least through this segment, in another layer completely, so that this can just keep cycling while the other guy climbs the wall. So I think with that we're going to call it good for now.